Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to learn another method for solving quadratic equations. We're going to use the quadratic formula. So let's get going. Go ahead and copy this down. Alright, here we are. Here's our first example. If we have an equation like x squared plus 3x minus 2 equals 0, okay, we can use the quadratic formula to solve this. Can you think of another way we could solve this? We could try to factor this, okay? In this case, I don't believe it will factor, okay? In case it doesn't factor, I would say use the quadratic formula. I would say the first thing you always want to try is factoring, okay? And this looks like it might factor with a 2 and a 1. That'll give you a 3, but since it's a negative 2, it probably won't work. So we'll go ahead and use the quadratic formula, and then I'll show you a way how to tell after you've used the quadratic formula if you could have factored it, okay? All right, here we go. The first thing we're going to do is identify our A, B, and C. So A in this case equals 1, B is 3, and C equals negative 2. All right, so we just follow this. And I don't know if you guys have sung the song before, but this is the song. X equals opposite B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times AC all over 2A. Okay, that's a good song to know if you don't already. All right, so let's simplify this. X equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of, now, negative 4 times 1 times negative 2 is 8, okay? So we have 9 plus 8 is 17, okay? All over 2. And there is our solution, okay? Now, because this is such a crazy, wacky number, there's no way that this would have factored, okay? All right, so again, if this is a positive 2, then yeah, it would have worked out. We could have factored it, but hopefully we'll get an example like that. Let's do another one. We have x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, again, we'll identify A, B, and C. Okay, so A is 1, B is negative 4, and C is positive 4. All right, x equals opposite B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times AC all over 2A. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and simplify this. X equals 4 plus or minus the square root. Now this is negative 4 times 1 times 4 is negative 16. So 16 minus 16 is 0. Okay, all over 2. And 4 plus or minus the square root of 0, well, the square root of 0 is 0. So this is 4 plus 0, which is 4, or 4 minus 0, which is still 4, divided by 2. Okay, so x equals 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Notice how many answers we have. How many answers do we have here? How many answers do we have here? Okay, here we have a negative 3 plus a radical 17 over 2. That's one answer. Here we have a negative 3 minus a radical 17 over 2. That's the second answer. Two answers there. Here we only have one answer. Here's why. Okay, it's this word right here, the discriminant. Okay, this guy right here, the discriminant you'll find inside here. Okay, the discriminant is b squared. Okay, all right, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Okay, if you want to write that, discriminant, all right, and that is just the b squared minus 4ac, okay? And if the discriminant is positive, okay, we have two real answers, okay? All right, if the discriminant is 0, we have one real answer. And if the discriminant is negative, we have two imaginary answers. Okay, and I'll show you, right? Here's a 17. Is that positive, 0, or negative? Well, that's positive. And how many answers did we have? We had 2 of them. Okay. Here is a 0. Our discriminant was 0. How many answers did we have? We have 1, just like it says. If the discriminant is 0, then we have 1 real answer. Okay. All right, let's do another answer or another problem and see if we could come across some imaginary. Okay, here we go. Let's try one more. Example. We have 4x squared minus 10x equals 2x minus 9. Now remember, the quadratic formula says it has to be set up like this. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, that's not what we have here. So any suggestions? All right, that's right, make it equal 0. So bring the 2x over, bring the negative 9 over. So we get 4x squared. Subtract 2x, so with a negative 10x, that's negative 12x. Okay, add the 9 to the other side, so plus 9 equals 0. Okay, all right, identify A, B, and C. Okay, and here we go. X equals opposite B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A, C, all over 2A. Okay, all right, so here we go. X equals 12 plus or minus the square root of. Now, this is negative 16 times 9, okay? That's actually 144. So 144, take away 144, that's 0, okay, over 8. And so x equals, well, 12 plus 0 is the same as 12 minus 0, so that's just 12. 12 divided by 8 is 3/2. And how many answers is that? Well, it's 1 answer. Is that right? Yeah, the discriminant was 0. All right, let's do one last example. Okay, 7x minus 5x squared minus 4 equals 2x plus 3. All right, it needs to say equals 0, so bring everything over. Okay, so I have a negative 5x squared. I'm going to put that first, negative 5x squared. Subtract 2 from that, so that's going to be plus 5x. And subtract 3 from that, that's going to be minus 7 equals 0. All right, identify A, B, and C. Okay. And now we have x equals opposite B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A, C, all over 2A. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's simplify. X equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root. All right, now, negative times negative times negative, that is all negative, okay? 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 7 is 140, right? All right, and 25 take away 140, I think, is negative 115. Okay, all over. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Okay. All right, and now we can simplify this a little bit. So x equals, now I could factor out a negative from all this. The negatives will cancel, okay? Let's also keep in mind this needs to be reduced. First off, though, how many solutions will I have? Okay, my discriminant is negative, so that means I'm going to have 2 imaginary solutions, okay? All right, so we'll get that imaginary out of there. Let's break up the 115, though. The 115, let's see. I know 5 goes into that. Sounds like 23 times. So the 115 isn't going to break up, okay? We're not going to be able to break that down at all, okay? So this is what we're going to have. We're going to have negative 5 plus or minus. The negative comes out as an imaginary, so it's going to be an imaginary square root of 115, okay? All over negative 10. Now, we can simplify this. Now, this might catch some of you guys off guard, but x equals, if I factor out a negative from everything here, okay, right? I could factor out a negative from the numerator, or a negative 1 rather, okay, and a negative 1 from the denominator. The negatives are going to cancel, right? So this will actually turn into a positive 5. This plus or minus will flip, so it's minus over plus, which is really the same thing as plus over minus, okay? So it's still plus or minus I square root 115 over, and here we have a 10, a positive 10, because I factored out the negatives from the top, factored out the negative from the bottom, and canceled them. Okay, I factored out a -1. Okay, and again, two imaginary solutions, 5 plus the imaginary 115 over 10, square root of 115 over 10, and 5 minus the imaginary square root of 115 over 10. Two solutions. All right, guys, good luck. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.